everyone, it's Clarice. This is Clarice Reads, and well, I've recently rearranged my bookshelf and I'm pretty proud of how it turned out. Though this video isn't about me sharing my bookshelf with you, it's about me sharing my TBR for the upcoming DiverseAthon. In case you don't know about the DiverseAthon, the concept is very simple. It's basically a readathon wherein you just try to read more diversely. From what I know, there aren't any challenges. You're not required to read a certain number of books. Even if you just read one book and you're reading more diversely, then you've participated properly in this readathon. I, like many other booktubers, recently have been trying to put more effort into reading more diversely, and because of that, I'm so happy that this readathon exists. I'll try to leave any relevant links that may be helpful to you if you want to learn more about the readathon down below, though it's likely I will just end up linking the Twitter account because I feel like that's where they make most of the announcements. While there are many ways that one can go about reading diversely, and I try to take into account all sorts of types of diversity and categories of diversity in my reading in general, for this readathon, I'm going to challenge myself to create a TBR that's completely sci-fi. So I'm only going to be reading diverse sci-fi books for the week of the readathon. Because in case you didn't know, one of my reading goals for this first quarter of 2017 is to read more diverse sci-fi books. So I'm just going to be extending that over to this readathon. So now that I've gotten all of that out of the way, here are the books that I plan to read for the upcoming DiverseAthon. One of the books that I'm hoping to get to is The Sea Is Ours, Tales from Steampunk Southeast Asia. This book was actually recommended to me on Twitter by Glyza_Echo, which I hope I pronounced properly. And I think you can probably tell what this book is about from the title alone. Basically, it is a collection of short stories, all from authors from Southeast Asia, and all in the steampunk genre. And I'm really curious to see how the authors incorporate elements from their own cultures and their own countries into these short stories. And I also have not read any steampunk, I think, yet. So even though it's sci-fi and I love sci-fi, I feel like this book is gonna be something really new and different for me. So I'm really excited to get to it. And the next one I plan to read is the only one in this TBR that is not sci-fi. Yes, I did mention that I want to focus mainly on sci-fi, but I really want to get to this book as well, and that book is the Mythology Class. It is a graphic novel by Arnold Arre, who is a Filipino comic book creator, and from what I can gather, it's about a college student who has to capture a bunch of escaped encantos, which are basically Philippine supernatural creatures. Arnold Arre is one of those graphic novel creators from the Philippines that I've been wanting to read more of. This is one of his older ones, but it does sound more like something I'd enjoy, and I'm really excited to get to it. Next book that I'm hoping to get to is one that you've probably already heard about, and that is Binti by Nnedi Okorafor. It is a novella by a Nigerian author, and I don't actually know that much about this, and because it's shorter fiction, I didn't really want to know much about it anyway. I have heard fantastic things about it though. It also won the Hugo, and just based on the things that I've heard of it, it does sound like the sort of thing that I'd enjoy, so I'm hoping I do end up enjoying it. And the last book on this TBR that I'm really hoping to get to in the DiverseAthon is Parable of the Sower by Octavia Butler. I actually don't know much about this either, except that it's dystopian. I've just heard such wonderful things about Octavia Butler as a sci-fi author in general, and so I've been wanting to read something by her for a while. My priority was actually Kindred, but my basis for choosing this was that it was the one that was available in my library. But I'm so excited to get to this. I've been wanting to read Octavia Butler's books for a while, and I'm glad that I'm finally going to be able to start, hopefully. So those are all the books that I'm hoping to get to in this DiverseAthon. I totally forgot while I was making that intro that one of the books are fantasy, but majority of it was sci-fi. Coincidentally, all of them were also own voices books, which are just the type of books that I like to prioritize in reading diversely in general. So I kind of expected that to happen. And I also didn't do this purposely, but it's pretty diverse also in terms of the formats of books that I got. One of them's a short story collection, one of them's a graphic novel, one of them's a novella, and one of them is an actual novel. But because the novella and graphic novel are probably not going to take me much time at all, and the novel itself isn't very long, and the short story collection also I don't think is very long, and it's also easy to cut that up into parts since they're separate stories, I'm hoping I'll be able to read all of these this week. But even if I don't get to all of the books, I feel like it's going to be a really fruitful week. So are you planning to participate in the DiverseAthon? If you are, which book are you most excited to get to? Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!